Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be giving my NBA DraftKings picks for Tuesday, November 28th. We got a small slate today on this Tuesday, just a 5-game slate, so there's probably going to be a pretty quick video, but I'm still going to go through each position, hit on some players that I'm looking to target today. These are my early looks at this slate. I am recording this the night before, and a couple teams are on back-to-backs. I know Cleveland is on a back-to-back. They are playing Monday night as I'm recording this. I wouldn't imagine anybody would rest, so I'm taking this slate I'm looking at this as nobody resting. Be sure to take note of that, guys. I am recording this the night before. Cleveland's on a back-to-back. I think there are a couple teams as well that are on back-to-backs. But yeah, guys, before we get started looking at the slate, if you guys could drop a like on the video, I would definitely appreciate it. Also, if you did miss my Week 12 recap video and my Week 13 first looks at the NFL slate, I did a couple NFL videos on Monday. Make sure you check those out. I would definitely appreciate it. Be sure to drop a like on those videos if you did not watch them already. And also, guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I upload NBA videos daily. I also provide plenty of NFL content as well. And during baseball season, I make MLB videos daily as well. So got a ton of daily fantasy content coming out for you guys. Make sure you are subscribed with notifications on, so that way you'll never miss out on any of my new videos. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and get started looking at this slate. Looking at some point guards to target today. Alright, so at point guard, like I said, it's a 5-game slate today, so this video is probably going to be pretty quick. We don't have a ton of options at each position. We don't really have any studs at this position. John Wall is eligible here, but he's not playing. He's out for 2 weeks, so our most expensive point guard today is Goran Dragic, 7,500, going up against Cleveland. Obviously, it's a good matchup for Dragic. I don't know if he's somebody I'm trying to force into my lineups today, especially not at 7,500. I think there are other options in around that price range that I'd just rather have at other positions. So I think point guard's a position we might want to go to like the mid-tier or look for some value. And in this mid-tier, there aren't a ton of options that I'm really liking. There's definitely some value plays I like that we'll get onto. Maybe in this mid-tier, if you want to target a guy like Ricky Rubio, Rubio's minutes have been really just inconsistent as of late, which is one of the reasons his price tag has dropped down to 5,400. We saw Rubio, like, to begin the year was like 7, almost 8K. Now he's just 5,400, but like I said, the minutes have dropped a ton. In his last 3 games, he's only played mid-20s in minutes, 22, 24, and 22 minutes. But he's put up 24, 21, and 22 DraftKings points, so he's averaging about a DraftKings point per minute. But I don't think if we're getting mid-20 minutes from him, I don't think we want to roster him even at 5,400, even though it's a really good matchup against Denver, who does struggle against point guards. I think if we want to attack Denver with some guards here, might just want to go up to Donovan Mitchell, even though Mitchell's price tag is really high at 6,500. Mitchell's the one playing the most minutes. He's seeing 26, 37, 26, 29 minutes in his last 4 games. Does have plenty of upside. 32 DraftKings point game against Philadelphia. Put up 41 against Milwaukee. And like I said, Denver does struggle to defend point guards, shooting guards. So it's a good spot for Donovan Mitchell. I think if we want to get some exposure to Utah, attack Denver defensively with the guard, I think we're probably going to have to go with Mitchell here. Don't know if we want to be on Ricky Rubio, even though his price tag is really nice. Just the minutes haven't been there. He's more of a tournament play. We know Rubio has plenty of upside, but definitely not a cash game play. If you're playing cash games today, Rubio's been way too inconsistent. But looking at other options in this mid-tier that we can target, Dwayne Wade's facing the Heat today, so you got that little narrative. Obviously, Dwayne Wade played for the Heat for a ton of years. So if you want to chase that narrative, sure, go ahead, 5,300, but definitely Dwayne Wade's not a guy I'm trying to force into my lineups today. If I'm making like 20 lineups, I'll maybe put Dwayne Wade in one of them. But like I said, definitely not a guy I'm forcing into lineups. So if we're looking at value plays at point guard, there's a value play that I absolutely love at this position. If injuries fall our way, I think he's a great play today. That's at 4,300. Tyus Jones going up against Washington. Right now, as I'm recording this video on Monday night, Jeff Teague is currently questionable for this game. If Jeff Teague misses, Tyus Jones, probably one of the best value plays on this slate. The dude just absolutely crushed in their last game against Phoenix with Jeff Teague out. Tyus Jones played 39 minutes and put up 43 DraftKings points. In the game before that, Jeff Teague also missed, and Tyus Jones played 33 minutes and put up 32 DraftKings points against Miami. So this dude's going to play a ton of minutes if Jeff Teague is out. He's going to produce fantasy-wise. He'll do a little bit of everything. He'll dish out some assists. He'll rebound. He'll score the ball. Definitely has potential to get some steals as well. Has put up 11 steals in his last 2 games. So a really good defensive player, can grab some defensive stats. And that's obviously great if you play on Yahoo or FanDuel where steals are worth 3 points. So I think Tyus Jones, if injuries break our way and Jeff Teague is out today, he is a guy we're going to want to have some exposure to, especially at just 4,300. If Jeff Teague is out, Tyus Jones is a great cash game play on this slate, great tournament play. Dude has potential to return 8, 9x on this salary. So be sure to keep your eye on that throughout the day. If Jeff Teague is out, Tyus Jones, great value play today in my opinion at 4,300. And if we're looking for other value plays at point guard, there's another value play that I really like at this position, another very cheap play, and that is Tim Frazier at 4,100 going up against Minnesota on the other side of that game. I really like Tim Frazier today. Like I said at the beginning, John Wall is going to be out for about the next 2 weeks for Washington, so Tim Frazier is going to be starting. In their last game against Portland, Frazier started that game for John Wall, and Frazier played 28 minutes and put up 21 DraftKings points. And then John Wall also missed on the 19th, and Frazier played 36 minutes in that game and put up 26 DraftKings points. So Frazier's going to see plenty of minutes with John Wall out. Should not have a problem returning value on the salary at all. So if you're looking for a cash game play on the slate, Tim Frazier should definitely be somebody you're locking in. Him and Tyus Jones. If Jeff Teague is out, Tyus Jones, Tim Frazier, two very good value plays on this slate in my opinion, and they're also very, very cheap as well. And yeah, guys, that's really pretty much it for point guard. I don't really want to mention a lot of guys like in this mid-tier if I'm not really going to be playing them. I think this is definitely a position I'm going for value. Tyus Jones, Tim Frazier, two value plays I really like. Obviously, Goran Dragic is in a good spot against Cleveland, but I don't think he's a guy I want to force into my lineups. There are guys in that 7K range at other positions that I'd rather have. Jeff Teague's questionable, so I don't really want to mention him. Not going to be on Eric Bledsoe. Probably not going to be on Chris Dunn at 6,100, so just not a lot of options here. Definitely think it's a position you want to go cheap with guys like Tyus Jones, Tim Frazier. If injuries break our way, these guys are great value plays. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard. Alright, so up top at shooting guard, we got another guy who's questionable today. Devin Booker, 8,100, going up against the Bulls. This is obviously a good matchup for Devin Booker, but he is currently questionable. I don't really want to recommend him just because he's questionable. He might not play. And I honestly have no idea if he's going to play or not. Sometimes I have a feeling if guys are going to play. Like Booker, I literally think it's like a coin flip if he plays today. I would actually say he's probably not going to play. And if I pay up for shooting guard today, even if Booker plays, he's not going to be the guy that I go to. Bradley Beal, if I'm paying up for shooting guard, he is the guy that I like today. I am going to be plugging him in as one of the 5 plays. With John Wall out, Bradley Beal is just going to see a ton of usage. I believe with Wall out this year, Bradley Beal's usage rate is like insane. It's like 36 to 40%, something insane like that. And we saw in their last game against Portland, John Wall did not play in that game, and Bradley Beal played 35 minutes, took 24 shots, put up 45 DraftKings points. Bradley Beal is going to take a ton of shots with John Wall out. He's going to be the guy that they rely on for scoring. His price tag didn't rise that much. It only rose to $7,900, which is still a reasonable price tag for Bradley Beal, especially with John Wall out. I was expecting him to be at least $8K. Obviously, it's not the best matchup going up against Minnesota. Bradley Beal's probably going to have to see defense from Jimmy Butler. We know Butler is a solid defender, but with no John Wall, Bradley Beal is just going to see a ton of usage. He's going to take a ton of shots. So like I said back at point guard, if I'm going to this 7K range, definitely would prefer like a guy like Bradley Beal over Goran Dragic. That's one of the reasons I don't really like Dragic today, because he's 7,600, and if I'm going for a 7K guy today, it's going to be Bradley Beal at 7,900. And since I think I'm going to be paying up for him today at shooting guard, obviously I'm going to prefer him over a guy like Jimmy Butler. Even Chris Middleton with Giannis back. Don't know if I want to play Middleton. I don't really like Bledsoe. Talked about Mitchell back at point guard. I think he's a viable option. But if you don't want to pay up at shooting guard, you want to go for some options in this mid-tier. There is one guy in this 5K range that I really like today. He is another one of my 5 plays. And that's DENZEL Valentine at 5,600, going up against Phoenix, going up against the Suns. I just think this is a great spot for DENZEL Valentine. The price tag is pretty high on him, 5,600. That is a pretty high price tag to pay. But this guy has a ton of upside. We saw it in his last game against Miami. Valentine played 40 minutes and put up 45 DraftKings points. Valentine's going to play a ton of minutes. He's been playing a ton of minutes as of late. Played 38 minutes against the Lakers. And if you give me a guy, 5,600, going to play near 40 minutes against the Suns in an up-and-pace game, just love DENZEL Valentine here. I think he has another game, or I think he has potential to put up another 40-plus DraftKings point game. Don't know if I'm targeting Valentine in cash games because he has been a little inconsistent lately, but for tournaments, this could be a game where Valentine goes for 40-plus again, which obviously that's a good tournament value. Even at 5,600, that's still like 7x. So just really like DENZEL Valentine today as a tournament play. I think this is a good game, or this is a game where he could go off again. So I'm plugging him in as one of the 5 plays today at 5,600. He's shooting guard and small forward eligible, so obviously that makes him a very intriguing option. You can roster him at 2 different positions. And then if we are looking for some value plays, shooting guard really isn't a ton of value here that I'm absolutely in love with. I don't want to mention guys if I'm not really going to play him. The only guy that I really could see me rostering for value at shooting guard would be Kelly Oubre at 4,300 going up against Minnesota. With John Wall out in their last game against Portland, Oubre did see a little bit of an increase in minutes. He did play 25 minutes and put up 26 DraftKings points. Obviously, with John Wall out, some guys are going to have to step up, like Kelly Oubre, Bradley Beal, Otto Porter. These guys are really going to have to step up big with John Wall out. So if you want to go to Kelly Oubre here at 4,300, if you need a cheap shooting guard value play, I think he definitely makes sense at his price tag. I think he can get 5 to 6x. Definitely a cash game play you can consider today if you are looking to go cheap at shooting guard. But I think that's pretty much it for shooting guard value today, guys. Like I said, it's a 5-game slate, so not a ton of options. This video is probably going to be pretty short. So let's go ahead and move on to small forward. Alright, so at small forward today, we've got two studs here, LeBron and Giannis. Like I said at the beginning, I am recording this the night before. The Cleveland is on a back-to-back. I wouldn't imagine LeBron rest or anything, so I'm expecting him to play today, and I really like him. Even at 11,300, there aren't a ton of studs to pay up for today, and there is plenty of value, so you should be able to fit in LeBron with ease today. And right now, as I'm recording this video, the Sixers Cavs game did just start. It's like they're like 5-6 minutes into the game, and LeBron's just absolutely going off. We know the kind of upside that LeBron has. The dude can just take a game over if he wants to. We saw that against Charlotte. He totally took over that game and put up 77 DraftKings points. We saw way earlier to begin the year against Washington, LeBron just went off for like 90 DraftKings points. This dude has so much upside. He has a very high floor, especially if it's a competitive game. LeBron's going to see nearly 40 minutes, if not more than that. So I think on a 5-game slate where there's plenty of value, I think you just pay up for LeBron today, especially in cash games. Obviously in tournaments you can fade him, maybe even fade him for like a guy like Giannis, who will probably be a lot lower owned than LeBron will. But I think LeBron's the better play if you're just choosing between the two. But Giannis, you can definitely pay up for Giannis. He is going up against the Kings. We know the Kings struggle against bigs. They really struggle just defensively all around. They do play at a very slow pace though. But obviously it's a 5-game slate, so I'm not going to tell you to fade Giannis. The dude has so much upside. But if we're just choosing between the two, I would much rather have LeBron over him for just $100 more. And if we're looking for other small forwards to target, if you don't want to pay up here for LeBron, obviously I don't recommend that today. I think you try and fit in LeBron if you can. There is plenty of value to do it. But if you are looking to the mid-tier for some options, if Devin Booker does not play today, TJ Warren is a guy we're going to want to consider, even though he's pretty expensive at $7,300. With no Devin Booker, TJ Warren's going to see a big uptick in usage. He's going to take a ton of shots. He already plays a ton of minutes, so just a good spot for TJ Warren if Booker is out. Probably won't be playing him at $7,300 if Booker plays, but if Booker's out, TJ Warren, definitely a guy we're going to want to consider if we do want to go to that mid-tier at small forward. And then another guy I like in that mid-tier, I said it earlier, but guys are going to have to step up with John Wall out. And Otto Porter is one of the guys that really stepped up in their last game against Portland. When John Wall was out in that game, Otto Porter played 37 minutes and put up 49 DraftKings points. Just an overall really good game, 24 points and 10 rebounds. So with no John Wall, Otto Porter is going to have to step up. And he didn't see his price tag rise that much. It only rose $400. So I think if we want to go to him in this mid-tier, I think he makes a lot of sense at $6,400. And then if we're looking for some value plays at small forward, I don't know if this is a position I'm looking to go cheap today, just because there are good options like Warren. If Booker misses, Otto Porter in the mid-tier, pay up for LeBron or Giannis. I don't think it's a position you really want to go for value. There are plays here that I talked about at other positions that I talked about back at shooting guard, like Kelly Oubre. He's a value play that I think you can consider. But I feel like this is a position where you definitely want to pay up. So yeah, I think that's it for small forward today, guys. Let's go ahead and move on to power forward. Alright, so at power forward, if we're looking for some options here, not a ton that I really like up top. I don't think I'm going to be on Kevin Love today. Probably not on Andrew Wiggins or Markkanen. Obviously, TJ Warren's a good play. If Booker is out, you can play him at power forward. But if we're looking to this mid-tier, definitely some options here. James Johnson, 5,900 going up against the Cavs. James Johnson, definitely a guy you can target for tournaments. This guy does have plenty of upside. He's had multiple games this year with over 40 DraftKings points. Going up against the Cavs, who have really struggled defensively this year, it is a good spot for James Johnson. He can return 6x on the salary. Wouldn't surprise me at all. But he has been pretty inconsistent lately, so I don't think you want to target him in cash games. But for tournaments, James Johnson does have plenty of upside. So if you do want to go to that mid-tier at power forward, I think he makes plenty of sense at 5,900. And another tournament option that I think you can target is Bobby Portis at 5,200 going up against Phoenix. Obviously a really good matchup against the Suns, who are just not a good defensive team. I feel like Portis is more of a tournament option, but the guy's actually been pretty consistent lately. In his last 4 games, 25, 27, 22, and 22 DraftKings points. But I don't think you want to roster Portis today just hoping for 25. You will probably want to roster Portis hoping he gets like 30 minutes and has one of those games that he had in the beginning of the year where he puts up 21, 13, 45 DraftKings points, 38 DraftKings points. Portis does have that kind of upside when he gets the minutes. So I think if you want to go to him as a tournament option in a really good matchup against the Suns, I think he definitely makes sense at power forward at 5,200. And then if we're looking for value at this position, obviously we can try and attack the Suns big with Greg Monroe or Alex Len. I think if you do want to go to one of these guys, I'd probably prefer Greg Monroe. At 4,800, he's power forward and center eligible, so you can play him at either position. Obviously, he is definitely a risky play. This guy has so much bust potential. But when he gets minutes, he has plenty of upside. He did play 32 minutes in that revenge game against the Bucks and put up 43 DraftKings points. But the 2 games after that, 12 minutes, 17 minutes. So the minutes for Greg Monroe have been so inconsistent. So he is definitely not a cash game play today, but for tournaments, if he somehow gets minutes, if like Alex Len or Tyson Chandler get into foul trouble, Monroe could totally go off. So I think he makes sense as a tournament play at 4,100. And then one more cheap value play that I want to mention is Kenneth Faried at 3,900 going up against the Jazz. The Nuggets will mix and match their starting lineup depending on who they're going up against. We saw against Houston, Denver started Will Barton in that game, and then against Memphis, they started Kenneth Faried. When Denver is in matchups where they're going up against teams that play at a slow pace, that have bigs like Memphis does, they'll usually start Faried over Barton. Barton usually plays in the games where they're fast-paced, like we saw against Houston. Barton starting that game, Faried didn't even get any minutes. But against Memphis, the next game after that, Faried played 31 minutes and put up 28 DraftKings points. So if Faried is in the starting lineup today for Paul Millsap, he could definitely be an interesting value option at 3,900. I think with the matchup against the Jazz, it would make more sense to start Faried over Barton in the matchup since it's slow pace. The Jazz have pretty good bigs. They're going to need a guy with size like Faried to start and play minutes. So keep an eye on that. If Denver does decide to start Faried, he could be an interesting value option at power forward for just 3,900. But yeah, guys, I think that's it for power forward. Let's go ahead and move on to center. Alright, so at center, we do have some options up top here. Karl Anthony Towns going up against Washington, Nikola Jokic against the Jazz, Hassan Whiteside against Cleveland. I don't know if center is a position I really want to pay up at. I don't really like hardly any of these matchups. Karl Anthony Towns against Washington, I don't really like that matchup. Nikola Jokic against Utah, obviously with no Gobert, that's a better matchup for Jokic, but Utah's still pretty solid against bigs, even when Gobert is out. But we know Jokic has a ton of upside. Really doesn't matter the matchup. We saw against Memphis. I know Gasol didn't play a ton of minutes in that game, and Gasol is a good defender, but Jokic still put up 58 DraftKings points in that game, played 36 minutes, 28 points, 13 rebounds, 2 assists, shy of a triple-double. That's the kind of upside that Jokic has, so even in a tough matchup, he could be a guy we target at 8,700. I think if I'm paying up for center, he's going to be the guy that I'd probably go to, but in this mid tier, I think there are some options here. A guy like MARCIN GORTAT really interests me today at just 5K, going up against Minnesota. GORTAT is going to have to play a ton of minutes in this game to defend Karl Anthony Towns, so they're going to need him on the court. He didn't look that great in their last game against Portland, only played 28 minutes and put up 15 DraftKings points. Definitely not the best matchup against Jusuf Nurkic. But this is a much better matchup today. Karl Anthony Towns is not a very good defender. So I think GORTAT at just 5K, I think it's very likely he gets 25 DraftKings points today. I think he gets a double-double. So if you want to go to him as sort of a mid-tier, cheaper play at center, I think he makes plenty of sense at 5K. And then if we're looking for value at center, I think a guy like John Henson could be an intriguing option at 4,700 going up against Sacramento. We know the Kings, they really struggle to defend bigs. So it is a good matchup for Henson. He should be able to dominate the boards in this spot. He hasn't been seeing very heavy minutes lately, though, which is definitely concerning. In his last 4 games, he's only played 28, 20, 26, and 25 minutes. Rarely will we see Henson get over 30 minutes, though. But even in like 25 minutes against Sacramento, Henson could definitely return value on this salary. So I do like him if you need a value play at center. There's not a ton of value I like at this position, but John Henson, 4,700, I think he makes some sense. And for 200 more than Henson, I also think Robin Lopez does make sense as a value option at 4,900 going up against the Suns. We know the Suns played a very fast pace. They're not a good defensive team. And these teams have faced off once this year, and Robin Lopez did play pretty well. He put up 29.5 DraftKings points earlier this year when they played the Suns. He played 30 minutes in that game, had 16 points and 10 rebounds. So just 4,900 if you need another value center today, if you need to go cheap at this position. I think Robin Lopez does make some sense at this cheap price tag of 4,900. And like I said earlier, if Denver does decide to start Kenneth Faried, he could be an intriguing value option. He's center eligible. If you want to go to him at 3,900, I think he makes sense. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it for center. I think that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you drop a like on the video if you did enjoy, and be sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel. Like I said at the beginning, if you missed my Week 12 DraftKings NFL recap, or if you missed my Week 13 first looks of the slate, make sure you check those videos out. Would definitely appreciate it. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck tonight, guys. Peace.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, she shaking fast. Yeah, she dropping slow. What? Yeah, neck on fro. Whoa, 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 whoa.